Now the time on 25 minutes past 10, and that talkback number 1300 872 I mentioned this, I think I mentioned it earlier on, maybe I didn't, but it's an important one. Now, you've heard me on this program talking about James E. Pong and the point he's making about the disappearing turtles, the disappearing turtle nests on the beach, particularly talking about cowley here. Listen to this. This is in the Cairns Post today. Cowley beach conservationists said turtle nests and native vegetation would be safe for at least 6 months, following a decision by the local council to temporarily prevent vehicles accessing the beach. It says here, traditional owners, the Mandurah clan and a group of locals have fought to get vehicles off the beach for years, saying cars are at risk to the turtle population. Cars are a risk to the turtle population and destroy the dune system. There have also been claims of pets hit by four-wheel drives that speed down the beach to fishing spots, etc. Look, it goes on. But is it a lengthy reprieve? Not at all, not 6 months. But I just put a call through to Colin Riddell, who's been a great champion on this issue for some time, along, of course, with James E. Pong. He's with me on the line. G'day, Cole.
Yeah, good morning, John.
Give us the background of this.
Mate, it's been going since about 1980, actually. There's a bloke down there who's a scientist, Richard Piper. He's been fighting this for 20 years. His children used to, fish on the beach here and sunbake on the beach. They're now going to university. That's how long this blue's been going. The government just failed to stop anybody driving onto the beach. There's no closed season, there's no anything, and people can drive down onto the beach. They've even got like a wooden ladder for them to drive down onto the beach, and then they can just go for it up to 100 kilometres an hour. So I'd hate to be fishing down there or laying on the beach down there at Cowley Beach at all. Now, the Mandurah people, that land there was sort of like his grandmother's land. They don't claim ownership to it. They just use it as like we use a church. Great respect. Their cemetery's down at Curramine, and actually the council of the Durham have given them a permit there to park their fishing trawlers all over their cemetery there. Like these people, we talk about Indigenous people here a lot on your program, doing the wrong thing around Cairns and around the region due to the drink laws. These people are shining lights amongst Indigenous communities. They're conservationists. James been looking after these nests and his elders down there for years and years and years, for centuries. And like I told you a couple of years back, they had 300 turtle nests there 20 years ago. I checked on the figures this morning. We're down to 7 at Cowley Beach.
300 down to 7?
Down to 7, that's at Cowley. They actually encompass their native title land for 60 kilometres of Innisfail foreshore, Curramine Beach, and back up towards Bramston and around the Innisfail area. There was 300 in the whole patch, but in that small stretch there, where there was probably 60 to 70 a few years ago, they're down to 7 now. They guard those nests 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until they hatch. Now, the vehicles that drive on there, they put a lot of other animals at risk there. There's the stone curlew, there's migratory seabirds, waders, and there's an international treaty on those birds with Japan. And yet people drive their cars up now like the freeway. Like, it's madness. And now we've got to the point where one resident in particular tried to run down James with a quad bike, and then pointed her finger at him and made a gun sign and called him Black Lloyd Bridges. And I think everyone knows the meaning of that. And that's disgraceful. We've got true conservationist Indigenous people trying to do the right thing, and we've got people just wanting their right to drive on a beach. Now, I heard you lead into the story saying there's a 6-month ban. Well, the wording actually says up to 6 months. So next week they could say, well, it's all safe now, the dunes are safe and everything's safe, and we'll take the ban off. That council down there's got to get a few cojones. Our local council got a few last week, and actually we've got the jewels in the crown, as you call them. The council now have asked the state and federal government to ban dugong and turtle hunting in those areas. Now, one council's woken up. Now we're calling the Coast Regional Council to wake up and ban it, at least for the turtle seasons or the season these migratory birds come. The minimum it should be that, but I don't think we need to be driving on beaches in Queensland. We've got animals all over the place.
I couldn't agree more, and people have been screaming out for this for it's madness. It's just crazy. Can I just take you to another issue too? This was in Saturday's Cairns Post under the heading "Protect Our Sea Life," with a magnificent photo actually of a dugong. But it says a round table meeting in Cairns this week has identified the destruction of habitat and commercial net fishing as the biggest threats to dugong and turtle life in the region. Kate Jones, the Environment Minister, met 25 interest group and Indigenous representatives, etc., discussing the depletion of turtle and dugong populations. It goes on to say much of the seagrass along the North Queensland coast is struggling with last year's rainy, cloudy weather inhibiting growth. and Cyclone Yazzie scouring seedbeds around the Hinchinbrook area. So are they putting down the depletion in numbers to Yazzie?
John,
and some cloudy days? Surely not.
Every time you mention that waste of a suit, that person that is there because of gender equality, no talent whatsoever, an absolute brain-dead person that believes the first thing she hears. I took Peter Bethune, former Sea Shepherd captain, him and Bob Irwin to a secret meeting when I picked him up off the plane. We met with some people who know, and I'm not going to identify them, but they know, and they told us the greatest threat to the marine life of the turtle and dugong is Indigenous hunting. Now, I've had it confirmed with people told me, eyewitnesses, that they sit off in their yachts there and they watch them roar along on quad bikes and dig up the turtle nest. Now, I know feral pigs. I know that there's degradation of the grasses. All those things are controllable, all of them, but uncontrolled, unmonitored Indigenous hunting is a major contributor. And those two people were experts, and they told Bob and Peter Bethune to their face over 2 hours. Now, I don't believe one word that comes out of Kate Jones' mouth. They talk the biggest garbage of it. Those people, how they elect them because they look pretty, or you've got to get people with brains into these jobs. Even in the Cairns area now, there's the seat of Cairns where Desley Boyle's vacating. There's a push on there to get the child bride, the child counsellor into the seat. We've got to elect people on talent, not because they're a female or not because they're young. We've got to get people that have got some nous.
No, we've got to get leaders, Col, for God's sake. People with leadership potential, for God's sake. People who will stand up and fight on an issue for the most neglected part of the most neglected state in the country.
And there's Bob Irwin, 72 years old. He got arrested last week. Now, I would hate to be in that policeman go home and tell my wife and kids I just arrested a national icon. There's a bloke in there trying to do something for Queensland, something in the environment, and these politicians, there was only one that had any cojones, and that was Aidan McLinnan. He went down and went with him. There was no one from the LNP, no one from the ALP, $66 billion, let's march on and ruin the environment. No studies done, pumping chemicals into the ground. Now, xylene and toluene are two chemicals that they're pumping into the ground. I made thinners about 20 years ago. They're two ingredients of thinners. I'd hate to be drinking the table water around those areas.
Sure.
And we've got Kate Jones just sitting on her gloves or a handbag or a lipstick or a makeup, coming out in print every time and just bleating about the fishermen or bleating about... I know all those things happen and everyone else knows they happen. But those things are controllable and they're monitored and they're regulated. Now, if there's cowboys, jump on them. But when you've got people able to do something unregulated, unmonitored, even down in James Epong, that lovely people down there, they lumped 5 clans together in one native title because it was cheaper for the government to do it. So they lumped dry country people. People have never seen a turtle or dugong 100 k's inland, are able to come down there, no respect to the elders or whatsoever, go and take a turtle or dugong, even though there's a 10-year moratorium, they do it. And no one can say anything about it, We've got to clean up the whole act. And the likes of Kate Jones doing nothing and trotting out the same garbage, she makes my blood boil. I hope that Can-Do Campbell, I met Can-Do when Bob and I walked out of that RSPCA meeting in Brisbane a week ago. He was sitting out in the foyer with a woman, and I walked straight out and I said, Can-Do, and I grabbed hold of his hand. I said, you get your head around this quick, mate, because there's going to be a major issue up here. And people want it fixed. And there's people all around the world listening to us right now.
Did he tune in, Col? Did he listen to what you had to say? Did you think he was genuinely taking on board your issue?
Oh, he did. He appeared to, and Bob was behind me. He couldn't see me because I'm such a large boy. I introduced him to Bob, and Bob said, you want to get your head around it pretty quick? And he was coming up here the next day. I didn't get a chance to talk to him on here. I would have put him on the spot like I do with the rest of them. But there's people all over the globe. There's an internet show called Urban Jungle Radio that Bob and I are on this Sunday at 1 o'clock. We've already spoken on that. It goes all around the world. There's people all around the world now picking up on this. There's a bloke called Viper Keeper who put a YouTube video out, and he's offered anyone that donates money to the campaign. They're aghast at what's happening in Australia.
His name's Viper Keeper. What's his name? Viper Keeper.
Viper Keeper. Yeah, he's got a massive audience. He put a rant out on that. He calls me the rant master. He thinks that I've got the rant title. And he had 4,500 views in 8 days, John. This stuff is global. Peter Bethune will be on Urban Jungle Radio in probably, I think, the 25th. And then Damien Mander, who was on 60 Minutes. People all around the globe are picking up on the Australian issues. And, the likes of yourself and Warren, and Greg Hunt that have been in from the start and the people helping us, we're going to get a result. I know they think we'll go away, but we'll never go away. And the council last week with Margie Cochrane, Robbie Pine and Alan Blake, and all the other councillors grew some cojones too. That was a unanimous decision, except for the mayor, who never put her hand up. That, this Labor-led council, now have to write to the Labor state government, the Labor federal, and ask them not to kill those turtles, dugongs in front of international, local and interstate tourists. Now, if that isn't a win for us, mate, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Small step. Darren Hinch sent me back an email within 2 minutes and said a small but very significant step, Cole. So
yeah, wonderful. It's
way, mate.
I'm thrilled with what you're achieving. I really am. Good on you, Cole. I've got to shoot through.
Cheers.
That's Colin Riddell out at Edmonton. 24 minutes to 11. You've got some views on those issues. 1300 872 911.